All right, Charlie, what day is it?
Today is day 547. A little bit of a gap from the last time we took our video.
Yeah, put it mildly.
A little bit. Today, didn't really do a lot, but we took our first step in we're kind of pivoting off our foot here of trying to mount the battery in the front to saying, well, the batteries are kind of a variable, but we know that this has to go in the back. So we just decided, let's start taking the things off from our setup here so that we can kind of position them to the car and, see where things are going to go, where we can mount it. We're pretty sure we have to take the inverter off the top to mount it, but we don't really, nothing's confirmed yet. So today we just took off the coolant, the two leads, the voltage monitors, the connector from the back, the harnesses, pushed it out, figured out we don't have the correct bit to get into the safety, under the safety panel to unhook. The other two are the other three copper things that go from the inverter to the motor. There's a little panel that covers those because there's a bolt that goes through. And we can't get to that because there's safety pins in there. We don't have the right bit. So we gotta wait for that. So we just slid it back and that was it.
That's right. The little cover, maybe I can see that on here. I don't know. There's a cover in the three phases going down to the motor. See that cover there? And it's got that Torx security tamper-proof bit. So the that awesome YouTube channel, I forget the guy's name. He's done some Leaf motor teardowns and things. If I remember, I'll try to link it here. Why can't I remember that guy's name? Anyway, he's got some awesome videos for conversions and his tractor project stuff. And what I love is he actually said, which bit you need? He said you need the T30 tamper-proof Torx bit. So just in case anyone else is watching this and trying to figure out an EM57 motor, how to disconnect the inverter from the motor, that panel is a Torx T30 according to his YouTube channel. So we ordered that, should be here tomorrow, and then we'll be able to separate the inverter from the motor. And then maybe we'll lift the back end up a little bit and put it on the little jack plate and start trying to visualize where it'll go. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, little steps. Charlie, what day is it, man?
596.
That's kind of sad, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been a minute since we worked on old Pearl here. But unlike all the other people doing EV conversions, our whole life is not devoted to the one project. So, but today we did get a little more progress done working on, I guess in our last video we had tethered the inverter and the motor, and we had set it on our little lift table, and it was sitting over there. But today we jacked up the car onto the jack stands, and we actually rolled this thing under there and tried to line it up with the axles and the wheels. Unfortunately, this thing does not have four-wheel swivel.
Yeah, it's only got swivel in the rear.
So to move it, you just gotta kind of like kick the axle and just kind of slowly trudge it around, because we're trying to see if the motor will be able to mount. Sorry, if the motor will mount like this, or if we have to turn it around to fit. All these things.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to see on camera, but we think there's enough room to mount it this way, but we're pretty sure in this direction we'll have to run it in reverse. I have to go look it up because we weren't paying attention to which way that differential was spinning when we put it in forward. But based on what the Resolve EV guy did, my guess is since this fits so much easier than the other direction, that this probably means that if you put it in forward, the car would go backwards. So we'll probably have to swap two of the legs on the inverter and keep an eye on lubrication potential problems. But anyway, we didn't work too much today, but just about an hour. And tell you what, if you got a lift in your garage, go say a prayer and be grateful, because we don't have one, and it's kind of hard. Yeah. All right. Good job, bud. All right, Charlie, what day is it?
Today is day 708, and it has been a long time since we've worked on Pearl, but today... Well, actually,
why? Why has it been so long since we worked on Pearl?
real answer, probably like just because we just haven't got out here, we haven't had the will to.
Is because you got a Jeep.
3 Jeeps.
Well, our family was kind of went on a binge trading our vehicles in and getting other stuff. But Charlie got a Jeep, 2005, and we've been spending our weekends working on that, doing brakes, doing idler pulley, doing evap leak fix. What else we've been doing? We fixed some rust.
Lights, watching.
Yeah, we changed the front headlights.
The whole, well, we didn't video.
Oh, we did all the audio. We redid all the audio
Shame,
system.
but
That's
you
fine.
can-
No, that's okay.
Anyway,
So anyway, what did we do today on Pearl?
today we, I think what we've been doing before is we were just running a cable from our charger, a positive, and just, we had the crimp on there, and we were just like, we didn't have the actual connector, we were just putting it into the actual lead. And then we were just taking our negative and hooking up to the negative terminal of the battery. But today we actually made the official connector. So that's what this is. So this goes to the charger. We made the actual connector. So that's what that is. And then we plugged it up and turned it on so the cells could balance. And also just make sure that it still charges and does what it needs. So this 12-volt battery is charged. And all these are charged. And you can see that it's still balancing them. Some are still higher and some are still
Yeah,
low.
I'm not sure. I don't know how close these all are supposed to be, but I figured I'd leave the key on for a while and let it do some balancing for a while, and we'll see how they do. Just because it's been so long since we did anything on it. We did plug it up and charge just to make sure that it would charge, but the state of charge is already kind of high, so I didn't want to charge it up anymore. But it would charge for a few minutes, and then it would stop, and then it would say, what was it, warm down? Yeah, and stop charging. So I don't know what that means, warm down. We're going to have to learn what that means, but we'll worry about that later. And then what did we work on over here?
Yeah, so we, in making progress in mounting stuff, we're going to put the motor back here. And instead of doing that all under the thing, we just cut it out completely so that we can do things more easily and see where we need to mount stuff. So we cut this whole rectangle out.
You cut it out.
Yeah. And we might have to cut out this whole spare tire too. We didn't cut it out just because to cut it out from over here, I think it's kind of weird because this is like the outside of the car. Anyway, we'll have to figure that out. But we cut this rectangle out, so our drive shaft, really the motor is kind of where it needs to be. At least the gearbox is pretty much aligned.
We think so, but we may have to flip it around. We're not sure.
Yeah.
We're not sure which way the motor will have to mount. There's a guy that makes the what's the EV controller that everybody uses for the Leaf? Resolve. The Resolve EV guy. He's got pictures and stuff of, he's got a Porsche 924S, or maybe it's a 944, I can't remember. And he had to mount his to where he had to run it in reverse. And he had to take the inverter and swap two of the phases so he could run in reverse. I don't know if he had to do that because he wanted to have the inverter on top. Like, I'm wondering if we moved our inverter off to the side, if maybe we could run forward. But my guess is it has something to do with the suspension down there and it not fitting. So we'll figure that out. But just to your point, we're not sure if it needs to go this way or flipped around the other way yet.
But, I mean, it's there, so we'll have to figure out how to mount all that stuff. And hopefully once things are mounted, the project will kind of exponentially grow because we know how to do the rest of it. Hooking up wires is not the problem. It's just mounting stuff. We don't have a clue how to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, we're very newbies when it comes to welding and manufacturing stuff and just figuring out how we're going to mount this thing in the right place. So we decided rather than just keep researching and thinking about how we don't know what we're doing, we're just going to make some mistakes. We're just going to get in there and start doing some stuff and make some mistakes. And then as we get closer to the thing being roadworthy, we may have to redo some things as we learn. So that's all right. So what day was it again?
7:08.
Man,
Been a long time.
7:08.
Actually,
yeah.
today is the point of this being filmed is in February, so we're coming up on 2 years. So
Yeah, and we don't really put out our videos necessarily
yeah.
around when we make them, so you might be seeing this way later, but that's okay too. All right. Good job, bud.